Today, I'm going to feature a program called Dynamic Auto Painter. I use this for special effects on my photos. So let's see how much damage I can do in less than 20 minutes. I go to my viewer here. I like to use Fastone. And this is a picture of my friend in high school. And I gave my camera to his brother. And he'd never used camera much, so a little odd, but we got something to work with there. So I'll go ahead and open this up in Elements. Going to get the raw photo editor first. And let's see, I'll just hit a default, reset everything to 0. Um, I think the temperature is okay where it was. Double click, take it back where it was. Exposure, maybe just a little bit. Never do contrast. I don't really have any highlights. Shadows, a little bit. Whites. Take it down a little bit. Blacks. Okay. Down. That'd be good enough. I'll go ahead and open that up in Elements. Go to the Expert tab. Unlock. Duplicate the layer, which I always do first. And I usually start off with multiply. Okay. And we got a whole lot of excess background. So first thing I'm going to do probably go to the options. I like my photo ratio. See how that works. Yeah, we're going to crop quite a bit here. Let's see what we got there. Get that out of the way. That's a good start. One thing I don't like is the background. I mean, trees, brush, stumps, yeah, blurry. Now I could just blur the background, but I'm going to use my special effect program and yeah, it's actually pretty good. I could open this up in my Skyline Luminar 4. I think I'll just go ahead and do that real quick like. Well, this does have portrait editing. So, let's see. Teeth whitening. Let's see what that does. Well, it does whiten the teeth a little bit. You can see both of us whiten the teeth. We'll go ahead. That looks, it's all right. Lips darkening, saturation. Well, eye whitening, face light. What's that going to do? Well, that does lighten up the face a little. And we'll go with that. That's fine. Let's go to our essentials there. What does AI Enhance do? Oh, it lightens up the background pretty good. Well, I don't really want to lighten up the background. Actually, I want to make it a little darker. Let's see. Exposure. Yeah, let's bring it down a little bit. I don't do shadows. Okay. Well, I could go on with this for quite a while, but I'm just going to go ahead and stop there and hit the apply and then go into the other program. Okay, back in Elements right now. This is pretty much a demonstration, so I'm not going to get too deep into the fine points of editing on this image. But what I need to do if I'm going to work in Dynamic Auto Painter is I need a JPEG, and it's not going to read a TIFF file. So first thing I'll do is save what I've got so far as a TIFF. And then I'm also going to save a JPEG because I need to work in that. So create myself a JPEG. We'll make it as large as we can. We cropped a lot, so it's not going to be terribly big. Okay, now we got a JPEG, so now I go into Dynamic Auto Painter. There's a whole lot of options here in the drop-down file. These are just presets, and they vary quite a bit, but there's one that I know is going to probably work for what I'm doing is this glamour. And so I need to open up an image here. Let's go. And there's my two files. Click on the JPEG, open that up, and we'll go down to the other tab, Painter. This is where I'd make some adjustments. Yeah, you could just click on, you get a different effect. I'm just going to leave the default values right here. I'm going to not do the canvas. I'll leave the surreal. We'll just see what we got. I mean, there's millions of combinations we can do here. And at this point, hit the start, and then it's going to generate an image. It'll take maybe 5-10 minutes or so, so I'll pause right here. Okay, so now the program finished, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. Go. Okay, well, found my folder. Save that. Now I could make some changes to these settings and then hit the start button again, and it'll generate another one that'll look different. So I'm just going to leave this program for a little bit. And now I'm going to open up that image that I just made. So I'll put open. There's my little glamour shot there. Now we're in Elements. Okay, so I put it in a new tab. There's the one I was working in. And what I want to do is take this image, stack it over in the other one. And the way to do that is go to Move Tool, and take my mouse, and I'll hold the button down, hold it up there, and then come back down. I'm going to hold my Shift key down, and so it centered up that image on top of the one underneath. Now it's a different size, so we need to kind of move it up another corner. I'm going to try to overlay this exactly over the other one. So now kind of looks like it. There's another way to do this. If I change the opacity so I can see through there. So how close did I come? It looks like I hit it pretty good there. But if I hit the arrow keys on my keyboard, I can move that image over a tiny little bit at a time if I have to. I'm going to undo that. And let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it right there. So I think I got them lined up where I need it. This I don't need anymore. I just X that out. So now I got my 3 layers. And this is really kind of overly saturated. So I'm going to go ahead, duplicate that layer, and I'm going to go in Luminar. I'm going to edit that a little bit. I'll pause right here while I'm doing that. Well, starting portrait enhancer again, and we adjusted the whitening on the teeth on the last one. We could do it on this one too. Let's see if the face light does anything. Yeah, lighten it up a little bit. Not much else I can do here. Light. Um, Shadows. I don't know. I think I want to darken the background a little bit. Exposure. Start contrast. Oh, back in Elements, and this was original layer that I was using from Dynamic Auto Painter, and this is the layer that I edited a little bit, and you can see the background's a little more surreal. That's actual image, and so I kind of prefer the surrealness of it all, but there's too much in the faces, and so I'm going to adjust that opacity. That's all the way down, and I'm not too crazy about that, so maybe halfway. Yeah, that's a little bit more what I'm after. And still the background is a little bit too much realistic. So I want more surrealism. So I'm going to go back into Auto Painter. I'm going to see if I can make this a little more wild. So let me surreal. Let's go like halfway. Impression. We'll just see what happens here. There's all kinds of wild stuff I can do here. Realist, expressive, dry, wet. Let's go there. Canvas, more time, less time. Well, let's just see what we get. I'll pause right there. Well, that's a whole lot more wild than I was after, so we're going to have to try it again. I'll pause and do the settings again. Well, I'm going to go through these settings. I'm not going to get as crazy as I did last time. So, we'll see what we get now. It's going to start over and regen, and I'll pause there. Well, I ran the program again, and I'm going to go ahead and save that one. This is my second time, so I'm going to rename it B. So now I'm going to open up that B, that one, and I'm going to go ahead and move it on to the other layer. Hold my shift key down. Now I got to line those up there. Let's see how I did. We'll shut that layer off. Yeah, it's a little more distorted with that one. Alright. See, that one's not nearly as distorted. But this one, yeah, that's not going to work. So I'm going to just delete that one. And I'll stick with my original layer that I got. So what I'm going to do is just change the opacity till I get to where I kind of like it. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a layer mask. Grab my paintbrush. Let's see, let's go to there. Hit the bracket key, make my brush bigger. Let's see, opacity. No, I don't want. Let's go like half. There we go. Okay, so my layer mask is highlighted, and let's see. Let's hit the X key. Yeah, there we go. What I'm going to do is make that layer underneath show up more. So a little more realism on our faces there. And so I think I like that. I like the surreal of the background, not so much on our faces. So that's why I made the mask. Okay. So it's getting to look pretty good. And so from that to that, just by adding a little layer from the other program and kind of get the best of both worlds there. And that, I think, is going to conclude my demonstration of what you could use this program for when you just don't like the total realness. You know, I'm not interested in the details on these trees. You know, a little more of a painted effect, but definitely not so much on the people. And even my hands. So go ahead and make the brush a little smaller, a little more realism in the hands there, even on the arms. There we go. That looks good. So yeah, that's kind of what I was after. And I'll pause right there for a second. Okay, I opened up an image that I worked on like 6 months ago, and this is the one that I did spend a lot of time on. And add a little text there, but this is the one I put on my Facebook, and I kind of made the colors a little better, a little more realistic. Zoom right. There is sort of a canvas look to that. I thought that made it look a little better than if it just had that by itself. So that's the canvas look, and that's without the canvas. So that was one of the settings you can do in this program. If you check mark canvas there, paper, oil canvas. So that's how I arrived at getting that particular look right there, and it works. I think it kind of sometimes a canvas look can make a image look a little better. Okay, but that's the general idea of how I kind of put images together using different programs, using layers here and Elements, Photoshop, and yeah, see, it's a little harsh, and I didn't like that, so that's kind of what I was sort of going for, and that's the end result. I'm sure I could do it better if I spent more time, but that concludes this video.